Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name's Chris and this is the Locator Lounge. We're back in the garage working on the 5S FE out of the Camry. For this week's video, I decided to explore doing some voiceover work. As you guys can see, the motor is out of the car and there's just a lot of disassembly to do. As I've told you guys before, I want to find out what failed in the engine. But also at the same time, knowing that I'm not going to be using this motor anymore, I did want to go ahead and sell the built transmission that I made. So my main goal right now is to get the transmission separated so that I can box that up and ship it out. Thankfully, it is going to be going to another member of the Camry Krew and keeping his Camry on the road, which is awesome. So a little bit of history on this specific build that I'm tearing down is my goal with the car was that I wanted to put as many TRD parts on the car that I could get to fit. One of those I think I talked about in the last video was that this manual transmission has a TRD LSD in it. I believe that LSD came out of a Lotus, because if you didn't know, the Lotus uses a Toyota Celica 2ZZ engine, and so that LSD actually fits this car. In addition to the TRD LSD, I honestly had a long list of TRD parts from the TRD quick shifter or short shifter, because it is a manual now. Got the LSD, I had a TRD rear sway bar, TRD front strut tower brace. I had full TRD shocks. So they're struts, but I had full TRD struts on the car, so full TRD suspension. And then TRD wheels. I actually built 3-piece TRD Illumi-K wheels. And then I think lastly, I had a TRD big brake kit. And so that kit specifically was from the TRD Orion in Australia. And I actually bought the calipers off of a guy in New Zealand. He was running them on his Camry. And these things are massive. I've also got a TRD muffler, as well as, piddly things like, a TRD shift knob. If you guys are interested in me doing a walk around video of that car and really getting into the details of all of these different parts, let me know. Drop it down in the comments and let me know what you'd like to see, and I can definitely put something like that together. As for what's next, because again, obviously you guys heard this motor. I am not rebuilding this motor again, and clearly because I'm selling the transmission. So what's next? A buddy of mine, Jonathan, up in the Atlanta area, he actually let me drive his Toyota Solara with the 1MZ V6. Shockingly, with how long I've been a Camry guy, I had never driven one of the third-gen Camrys with the 1MZ V6 in it. So, after driving his, I was just blown away by the power. The extra power was really nice to have in comparison to the 4-cylinder. So in that moment, I decided that a V6 swap was what had to be next. It was finally time, after daily driving this car for, 15 years, and then doing a full build, it was time for the V6. In order to do that swap, though, it's a lot more than just the motor. Turns out the CV axles, the drive axles, are different. The hubs, the spline count, size, all of that's different. So in order to do the V6 swap and do it the right way without creating Frankenstein axles with different inner and outer parts, you've got to get the spindles, the hub assemblies, all of that stuff. So to best do the swap, it's ideal to have an entire donor car. And luckily, Jonathan had one. He had an entire, I think it's a 2001 Toyota Solara V6, and it's a manual, which is even better. And so, as much as I hate gutting, you know, a perfectly good car, I'm going to be pulling that entire drivetrain and everything out and using it to put new life back into my car. So in this next iteration, she is going to be a 1MZ V6, and she will still be manual. She'll be a 5-speed. It's going to use a different transmission this time. Again, that's why I'm selling this one. But in addition, I will also be putting on a TRD supercharger. So it's not as critical for me to keep the car, you know, with as many TRD things on it. But I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to put a blower on their car and have, you know, the whining noises of the supercharger when you're getting into the throttle? I've got a lot of work ahead on that project, though. Wiring harnesses are going to get outsourced to a guy in Georgia, where he actually will graft together the wiring harnesses for the 1MZ and the 5SFE, because unfortunately my chassis didn't come with the 1MZ option. So, you know, a lot of wiring work needs to be done. And then, as you guys have seen from my videos so far, I also just have a lot of ongoing projects. So that is definitely something that we'll be doing, but the Camry is somewhat on the back burner for a little bit. For now, the focus was sell the transmission and make space in the garage again. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. So there's the engine. We'll start by looking at the connecting rod caps. See if we've got play. There it is. That's it, guys. That is completely gone. These are fine. Wow. Totally gone. What we're going to do is we're going to rotate the engine over and see if we can see cap's not loose. So, wow, that's just wild, guys. That is absolutely wild. Let's get that off.
Wow. Look at that. These bearings are just completely gone. Completely stacked again. And the sad part that I say about again, original 400,000 mile bearings, these only had 30. And that is just a shame. Man. We'll definitely be pulling off the rest of the caps to see what they look like in comparison to this, but they're not going to look great because all this metal that's missing, it's been floating around in the motor. I mean, my gosh, look at, you can see how much stuff is stuck there. That's how much metal is stuck to the pickup tube. So, yeah, that motor's toast. Surprisingly, the crankshaft is actually, even though the bearings look terrible, the crankshaft on these other journals actually don't look terrible. Now, obviously, this is just insane. I mean, it's taking the lint with it. But I'm surprised these don't look worse, considering how much metal was floating around in the motor. Maybe that's a plug for K&N filters, because I've only used K&N filters on this motor, so, you know, maybe they're somehow pulling off some magic of not letting that stuff get everywhere else. And there you have it, guys. So, spun bearing. I don't really know how that happened from the moment that I started the motor. It did have like an incredibly subtle tick. I took it to a few shops in town, you know, and these were like old school veteran guys, and they were basically just like, yeah, I mean, these 5S motors are just kind of noisy. I know that I had deleted the balance shaft assembly that was on the bottom of the motor that keeps it running smooth, so maybe they were right. I don't know. Clearly they were not, because something happened. But anyway, if you guys have some thoughts based on what you're seeing, and or if there's questions, you know, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to find out what your guys' thoughts are. If there's something I missed, if there's something I should have done. I'm going to be firing up the motor for the first time on the Celica, hopefully in the next couple of months. Not much longer than that. So I want to make sure I don't miss anything. So learning moment for me. Again, if you guys have any insights on what might be going on. As far as what happened with the rest of the motor, you know, I didn't film just tearing it down. I just, you know, at that point, you know, I learned what happened. I gutted parts that I wanted to keep. You know, I pulled pistons and stuff so that I can make some, you know, bookends or just whatever kind of automotive art stuff that I want to do, and just scrap the rest of it. So, anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Let me know what you thought of this video. If you haven't, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to keep up with what's going on. The Camry will eventually be on the road again. But for right now, working on some other projects, and we will see you guys next time.